Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Philosophonics. Crazy to think that we are already 7 shows into this series here on YouTube. It has been such a pleasure so far having all of you along on this journey. We have learned about sound, we have learned about sound healing, and many other aspects of sound. And I thought that it would be a nice what do you call it when you change like the direction? A nice one of those things to go into a little bit about reading music. Reading music is just like learning a language, and in my experience talking to other people, a lot of people are intimidated by looking at sheet music and don't always know where to begin. And I think it's a little bit like physics. I don't know about you guys, but when I had physics in school, it seemed like some professors really wanted to make it like so difficult and very cerebral, and it was very hard to understand. And then I had other professors that were purposely trying to make it as easy to understand as possible. And there was definitely a noted difference in my grades between those two different styles of thinking. So I am going to, over the next couple weeks, divulge the basics of reading music in that language. And so I hope you guys enjoy this. And in my opinion, it really opens up a whole new world just as learning a different language does. So don't be worried. We're going to start from the absolute basics tonight. And yeah, over the next couple weeks, you guys should be pretty well on your way to looking at a piece of sheet music and going, oh, I know what's going on here. So yeah, I'm going to get started as usual with some originals, then into the chat about reading music, then some covers, and lastly, of course, a meditation. So it's a pleasure to have all of you. I don't have my chat screen up. Let me see if I can get that up real quick. There it is. Cool. That way I can see you guys' messages in the chat. Although, like I said, I'm not great at knowing how to type back to them, but I do see them. So feel free to put your questions or comments in the chat. And without further ado, the 3 originals I'll be playing for you guys tonight are called Long Run, Wounded Nation, and Cadence. Hope you enjoy. He sits, waiting for the angels to rush over him. Thinking of the man that he wants to be. And every morning hears the alarm, and every morning puts on his shoes, and every day he heads to work already feeling the blues. Hides his sorrows in the smoke, unemotional feelings, keeping him daydreaming for the better world, waiting for ladies or raises or babies. I can't make him change, but all I can really say is hold up just 1 minute. If you push through this, it will be okay in the long run. up straight, breathe it in. There's enough air for everyone to start again in the long Hi, Julie. Welcome with reverb on. Welcome to Philosophonics. All right, this next song is called Wounded Nation, and it's kind of a prayer for the U.S. and every other country for that matter. If you have money, just need a friend. Wounded nation, peace lies within. Wounded nation, we just need a friend. Wounded nation, peace lies within. Wounded nation, we just need a friend. Wounded nation, peace lies within. Wounded nation, we just need a friend. Wounded nation, peace lies within. Close the door and you'll keep out the music. Don't let me get in the way of your plans. I know there's not a dollar sign on my wallet. And after all, I'm still the opening act. Man, is it any wonder we're lost in these plans, letting our time slip like sand through our But I got dreams that are bigger than any of my fears. And now's the time to say it, to let you know that I'm here, and I will burn all the boxes that were built for me. 'Cause I've taken off the blindfolds, and now I see what I can be. Part of us greets us in the morning, tells us that we're running out of time. I know it's not the clock that we are fighting. We're battling the war that's in All right, so as I said, tonight we are going to learn how to read music. I'm so excited to teach you guys this. All right, we are going to start with rhythm, right? There's kind of like, really essentially two aspects to reading sheet music at the basic level, and that is rhythm and pitch. So I'm going to start tonight by teaching you guys rhythm and how that looks on sheet music. All right, so imagine a pizza, a whole pizza. It is the whole thing, right? And this is how I love to describe this to younger kids that I'm teaching. But the analogy holds true because we all know what a pizza is and how it's sliced, right? And like I said, we're gonna start from the very, very beginning tonight. So if you already know a little bit about reading music, you're probably gonna be bored tonight, but it might be a good refresher. So, but if you've never learned a lick of reading music, this is for you because we are starting from the top. So, rhythm, got the whole pizza, boom, whole pizza. Now, what happens if you slice the pizza in half? Down the middle, you have how many halves? Two halves. This is like basic fractions, you guys. Two halves equals one whole. Yay! All right, now what happens if you slice the pizza quarters equals, once again, the whole pizza. Two halves equals the whole pizza. Then, if we keep slicing, which is what you get when you get pizza delivery, you get that pizza slice into how many? 8 pieces of pizza. We call those eighth notes, right? So 8 of those equals the whole pizza. You've already learned a lot of stuff just right there. If you can comprehend how a pizza is sliced up, you can comprehend music notation rhythm. All right. So you guys know that I love thank you, Julie. You guys know that I love my pictures, and I will try to not keep them up way longer than they need to be. So here is our first picture for tonight. Oh, look at it. It's so, so lovely. I got to figure out which way I point. Okay, the pointing might be confusing for me, but that's fine because we can just go through it. So, if you look at the top, that little dude that is not colored in and has no stems on it is called a whole note. And that relates to the whole pizza. Okay? So just roll with this. Then the next is if we slice our pizza in half. So we call those, coincidentally, half notes. So as you can see, there are 2 half notes underneath the whole note to show you that 2 halves equals 1 whole. Then moving down, we have, if you slice the pizza into 4 slices, we call those the quarter note because it is 1/4 of the whole. And as you can see, we start to get stems on stuff, on things that are below our whole note there on the chart. So everything except the whole note is gonna have stems. All right, then below the quarter note, we have an eighth note. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just saw in the chat, DBS, I have the heart of a lion and the rhythm of a toddler. It's all right. We're going to work on it. We're going to get it. We got this. Just use the pizza. And the pizza from the delivery people when it's sliced into 8 notes. Boom. And as you can see, this lovely little chart keeps things in alignment to show you how they relate to each other, right? So we could fit 2 half notes, boom, boom, into the whole note duration. We could fit 4 quarter notes into the whole note duration. And we could fit 8 notes into the whole note duration. And then it gets even crazier below, right? We start having a 16th of that pizza. So if you want to be like really cheap and just give your friends, a 16th slices, that would be what these notes are down here. Oh, look, I can point sort of cute little things we call beams, okay? Um, I think they're called beams. There's many kinds of beams. But anyways, those guys are connected. at the top, as you can see, and sometimes you will see them flipped over in a, let's see, that would be called a 180, to where it's the dots and then the stems are on the bottom and the line is on the bottom too. So anytime you see the stems going down or up, that's okay. We'll get to that in infinitely is all you need to know. So, but you just keep doing like those fractions. So if you were to divide the 16th notes even further, you would get 32nd notes, right? And there's like 32 of those guys that happen in the whole note duration, etc., etc. 64th notes, ridiculous stuff. Like past 64, it's kind of like, y'all guys are out of control. You probably should have written this in a different way, right? Like that sounds. And I apologize. I think the internet is a little shoddy tonight. So if it's choppy or if it gets crazy, definitely I'll rebroadcast this on Wednesday, etc. for you guys. So yeah, let's talk about how it sounds. For all practical purposes tonight, we are going to be operating in division of 4, where the whole note is divided into 4 beats. Okay? Now, that is not to say that when we get to a little bit more advanced stuff that we could break that whole note situation, taking up the whole pizza, into different things like 3 or 7 or 11 or any number. But we're going to talk about 4 on the floor essentially tonight, which is 4 beats, 4 quarter notes, 4 slices of pizza equals 1 whole pizza. Okay? So here is how that sounds before we repeat it. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we repeat it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can tap your foot with the 4 if you want. What I'm doing is 4 quarter notes because they each get the beat. Eat, right? So that is 4 of those guys. These, geez, the pointing, okay, everything is like reversed, so it's really crazy for me. 4 of those guys. So what I'm doing is these guys right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, quarter, 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 quarter. Cool? Okay. And like I said, please put your questions in the chat if like I am not making sense in any way tonight, because I want to be cumulative. All right, so 4 is easy to see with the quarter notes, right? 4 beats per what we call measure. Okay, don't worry about what that means until a little bit. I'll get to it. But for now, just know that it's 4, and then we repeat the measure again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now check this out. If we go up to the half notes, what that means, half of the pizza. So here's my 4 slices of pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would mean that our half notes, those guys with the stems, they are 2 per the whole pizza. So, my math friends out there, how many quarters equals 1/2? 2, right? How many quarters equals a whole? 4. We talked about that. So that's how this rhythm would go of a half note. It's twice as long as the quarter. It gets 2 beats instead of 1. So here's our quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now I'm going to do the half, right? Here's the half note. 1, 3. 1, 3. 1, 3. Right? So in this hand, I've got the quarter note going on. Right? This note, I have the half note going on. Oh my gosh, you learned a half note. So now check it out. Here is what is the whole note. It gets how many? 4, all 4 beats. So here is the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh, uh, uh. Here's the whole. 1, 1, etc. Right? Okay, so half note gets 2 beats, right? Out of the 4. So we can fit 2 of those into a measure. And then quarter note gets 4. Each one gets a beat. Now, what about the eighth notes, you say, Ashleigh? Well, that is just going to start breaking our 1, 2, 3, 4 into smaller sections, right? So here's the 1, 2, 3, 4. For each of those quarter notes, I can put 2 eighth notes, just like if we kept cutting up the pizza, right? Our eighth notes is this big, and the quarter note is this big, right? It's just twice of those. And so here's how the eighth note would sound. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and each of those ands that I'm doing is this second eighth note, like as you can see there. So that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I think we use the ands because we're letting everyone know that it's not its own beat, right? It's just a part of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Cool? Okay, so then down to our 16ths. What we use for those is 1 and 2 and right? Okay, so let me show you the eighth notes first. So here's our quarter, our happy little quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's the eighths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right? So you can see those are all, look at them, they're lining up so beautifully. All right, then, like I said, if you wanted to get to the 16th, 1 and a. So here is quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a 4. Cool? Okay, so when you look at sheet music and you see these types of symbols, they're going to be up and down, right? Because we're going to get to pitch in a second. But you will see this kind of guy, the whole note with no stem and empty inside. Poor guy. And then the half note, which is empty inside with the stems. Then the quarter note, look like that. Eighth note and 16th note. Boom, baby. All right, so those are the basics of notes and rhythms. There are those same equivalents for silence. I do not have a pretty image. I did not grab an image for what we call rest, which is just the silence that is on the music, right? It's when you don't do nothing. And so guess what? There is a whole rest, which takes up 4 beats. There is a half rest, which takes up 2 beats. There is a quarter rest, which takes up 1 beat, eighth rest, 16th rest, etc. And I probably should have gotten an image of those because those are pretty important. But you can Google it. So yeah. Now, let's put that to a little bit of practical application, okay? Because not everything is going to be spelled out so easily. So what I want to do is combine some of those. I have a new handy dandy dry erase board that I got for tonight. And I'm going to see, this is a challenge at home. We're going to do some exercises. So I'm going to write a very simple, actually, first, let me draw you some ghetto versions of what the rest look like, okay? Because that was really cruel of me not to do that for you. It's importante. And don't laugh at my ridiculous quarter rest because they're hard to draw. Okay, it's easy, okay. Yes. Okay, you can see it. Sorry, my green screen's gonna go whack with this because of lighting. So the hat upside down, it looks like you're looking for tips. That is what the whole wrist looks like. Okay. The top guy. Then the hat that is up, like you're gonna put it on your head, that is a half rest, right? So you could have two of those per measure, but really they just always put a whole rest if you got two of them. Then my ghetto quarter rest. Excuse it. And then over here we have the eighth note rest and the 16th note rest. Okay, so those are what those guys look like. I'm sure there's a nice, much more digitized, pretty version of that on the interweb. But now let's have some fun, shall we, with rhythm. I'm like so ghetto. I'm erasing with my shirt. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to write a rhythm for you guys, and let's see if at home you can clap it. So first I'm going to do an easy one, okay? It's going to be so easy. You're going to feel like a real winner. Almost done. Y'all ready? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing like a toddler right now. Okay. Okay. I promise my note on the next one I'll show you my notation skills cuz this one looks like I'm a kindergartner, but it's okay. So on that still looks backwards to me. Does it look to you right? Maybe it looks right. I don't know. Does it appear backwards? No, it appears right to y'all. Man, the flipping of things is tripping me out. All right, so see if you can figure out that pattern on your own real quick. So you've got two quarter notes, an eighth note, and then a quarter note. Oh, thank you, Julie. I appreciate that because I'm like losing my mind thinking if stuff is the right way for y'all, but I'm glad it's right. Okay. So I'll give you a second to look at it and think about your 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So here now I will give you the answer. I'll give you a hint, okay? There's your hint right there. That should pretty much help you right there. So how this rhythm sounds is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how it goes. And if you figured out at home, I'm so proud of you. And you just read your first rhythm with real notation. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so dun, 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 right? Because we have that eighth note. So now what happens if I'm going to do a new one. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. Whoa. Hey, thanks you guys for the feedback in the chat. That's like truly helpful for me. All right. Let me do a little bit more of a challenge. I'm going to try and draw it prettier this time for you. This one's going to be a little challenging, y'all. Get ready. Okay. Here is the next one. All right. I'm going to give you a minute to look at it and think about it. Right? Something crazy's a little bit with that half note in the middle, right? It's not broken up so nicely, but it is, right? So here is your hint. Oh, all right. So now you can try and speak it or tab it to yourself. I'm not going to give it away too early. I'll give you a minute. Okay. So how that guy sounds, we have an eighth note and then a half note and then a quarter note, right? And we know that that half note gets 2 beats. So it is going to get beats 2 and 3 And then we have a quarter note on our fourth one. So that one would sound like 1 and 2, 4. I'm not saying the 3 just to let you like see that it's held. But here's how it would actually go. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Eh, 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 uh, uh, Okay, cool. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. All right, we're going to do one more of the rhythm. It will be the most challenging yet. And then we're going to move on to pitch. So give yourself a pat on the back because you already learned a lot of rhythm stuff. You already are not going to be as freaked out when you look at sheet music ever again. All right, let me think of a challenging one. All right, I'm going to include my ghetto quarter rest in this, all right? It's going to be a challenge. I don't want to freak y'all out with too much craziness. All right, ghetto quarter rest. Cannot draw a straight line tonight for the life of me. Maybe ever, actually. Sure. Okay. These is my just ghetto quarter rests. My professors would be laughing at me right now. Okay. Look at this guy. What is happening here with it? Well, as you can see, there is a quarter note rest. Then we have an eighth note, and then a quarter, and then another quarter rest. Holy cow. What does that mean? All right, let me give you your clue. I'm sorry, you can't see it while I write your clue because that's more time you could be thinking about it. There's your clue. Look at that green screen. You guys can see it. All right. Got it? So try it with yourself. All right. So now I shall give you how it sounds. It will be silent on beat 1, right? Nothing. But we still count it in our minds. Like we still keep that beat. And then on the second note, we have a quarter, 3, and then silent again. So how that would go, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, and rest. Right? Or I'll give you a beat of 4 normal, and then this one. 1, 2, 3. That's a beat of normal. Then 2, 3, and right? The silence, right? That's what the rest is. The silence. All right, so hopefully that is making sense. And you can sit there all day and you can make up rhythms to practice with yourself forever and ever and ever. The main thing that is important is understanding that the 1, 2, 3, 4 is consistent, right? It is all the same. The beat is proportionate, right? So everything fits within that. Why do you hear faster and slower music? Does that affect these durations? Well, guess what? That's called tempo. And so that is just making my 1, 2, 3, and 4 faster or slower overall, right? So an example of that would be if I had 4 quarter notes going at a tempo of what we call 60 beats per minute, which now you guys are super smart. So you know that in this case, a beat is what note? The quarter note, right? 4 beats. And then we begin again, which is called a new measure. So the tempo of 60 beats per minute is really, really slow, like almost a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Super fast tempo, something like, I don't know, 140 beats per minute up, right? And that's when our 1, 2, 3, 4, we just count a lot faster. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right? Or the whole note would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, right? Half note. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 10, 16. And that's for the house music EDM homies. They can do that fast stuff. Okay, so that should give you a pretty good grasp on rhythm. When you see at the beginning of a piece of sheet music, which we'll get into these things a little bit next week, more in depth, but when you see what looks like a fraction at the beginning of 4 and underneath it is another 4, what that means, the top note is how many beats are in the measure. The measure is before we start again. So 4 at the top means that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? The number at the bottom is what type of note gets that 1, 2, 3, 4 beat, which we will also get into later because I don't want to get y'all's carriage before the horse. I'm always so bad with analogies on the Philosophonics, but it's all good. So if you see those, that's what those guys mean at the beginning of the sheet music is that's 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note is getting the beat, just like we talked about. Boom. All right, onward to pitch. Euro. So we have talked about before that there are, I think I did it in a couple of the lessons. But anyways, the musical alphabet, we are, us musicians, we choose to only use the letters A through G of the alphabet. So those letters include A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we start there and we go back to A again. Right? That's all we use. We don't use more letters than that. So, learn that. We only use A through G. Now, they can be altered in certain ways, which we will also get to next time. But we starting with the basics tonight. So, when you're looking at a piece of sheet music, you guys might have learned this early on in your music classes, okay? Maybe in little elementary school you learn this. But one thing, yes, that's correct, DBS. All of this pertains to 4/4 that we're learning tonight. Correct. And we will get into some other, those are called time signatures. I don't know why they're called signature. It's like their signature move. But yes, what I just explained with rhythm is dealing with the 4/4 time signature. So if you want to be bougie to your friends this week, you can be like, yes, I've learned my rhythms in 4/4 time. You can say that and you'll sound really smart. Or they'll just, I don't know, they'll be like, you're a huge nerd like they did with me. All right, so let me introduce you, my friends, to what we call the musical staff. I don't know why it's called a staff, but it is. And the musical staff, so just kind of ignore that it's saying like types of clefs and all that for now. And I want you guys only to look at the first one where it says treble clef or G clef and see that there are, count 'em, 5 lines there of that staff, the staff, what we call it, and 4 spaces between those 5 lines, okay? So 5 lines, 4 spaces. That is the situation for all staffs. 5 lines, 4 spaces. That's how we roll. Now, for the famous acronym that you have probably heard many, many, many times is every good boy does fine. And if you're looking at that first one, you can see that they have actually spelled that out for you on the staff. And this is the quickest way to know what a pitch is on the musical staff. One thing I should caveat with right now is what a clef is. Okay, so as you can see on this image, they are saying, like, no one calls it the G clef, the F clef, or the C clef. Like, pretty much no one uses that terminology anymore. What you're going to hear is treble clef, treble like treble, bass clef, or it says movable clef. We call those like tenor or alto clef, or like the clefs that string instruments play in that we don't want to deal with. Most of the time you're going to see stuff in treble clef or bass clef, and treble is higher and bass is lower, which we'll get to what's called the grand staff in a minute. But for now, we're just looking at one staff says at a time. All right, so every good boy does fine. And just like I told you that we only use the letters A through G in the musical alphabet, we're just going to pretend that, and we're going to start on E, which is our lowest line of the treble clef staff. Okay, these are all just words, just like when you learn that you already knew something, you just didn't know the word for it, right? It's like, I think a lot of this, just the vocabulary is what's intimidating. So don't be intimidated. It's just the names for stuff, right? So treble is that cute little thing that you always see where it says point of intersection. It's pointing to that beautiful little treble clef symbol, right? It's like swirly. You guys see it. And then you can see on the bass clef one where they're pointing to that little thing that looks like a shrimp with 2 dots. That is the bass clef symbol. So you're always going to have that as well at the beginning of a piece of music to show you what clef you're dealing with. Okay, looking at the treble clef, every good boy does fine. That is a shortcut to know what the notes are of every line, right? Can you guys see that? So E, G, B, D, F at the top. F's the top line. Beautiful. So what does that mean and how it sounds? Well, here's, for now, just roll with me. Here's E. That particular E. That's right there on the treble clef. And then here is G. D, F, E, G, B, D, F. Those are your lines of the treble clef staff. All right. And then the other thing, what are the spaces, you ask me? Well, that spells the word face. F-A-C-E. Okay. So you can see that between our lines. So the actual order of a note of the staff, how we do it, going up, it's line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line. That I just played what was on that treble clef right there. So that would be E at the bottom line, F, the space, G, the line, A, the space, B, the line, C, D, E, F. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, right? And I could go downwards if I reversed it. And we read from left to right, just like we do with words in English. But if I were to go from right to left, I could go F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Whoa. Lovely. Okay, so those are worth a little bit of memorizing. Every good boy does fine. That's how you memorize your line notes, and how you memorize your space notes is the word face. All right. So that is the treble clef. Baller. That's how pitches look on it. Then let's look at the bass clef, right? Here's the analogy for this one. Good boys do fine always, right? So those are kind of like similar. I don't know. I was taught them when I was like about 5. So I believe that you guys can learn this. So the bass clef, good boys do fine always. G, B, D, F, A. And if I were to play that, here's that G. Whoa, it's lower because we're in the bass, right? So G, B, D, F, A. I just played you all the notes on that guy. And the spaces, you just remember the word ace and then just a random G. All right. I don't know the trick for that one, but I just remember ace, A-C-E, and then a G. Right. So here's A. These are the spaces of the bass clef. A, C, E, G. All right. So if I were to play from the bottom of that guy, G, A, B, D, or excuse me, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And if you'll notice, we've talked about the octave before in music. So looking at that bass clef, you can see that the lowest line is G, and then we're going to come back around to G on the last space, which is an octave, right? Do you guys get it? Okay, and then movable clef, like I said, no one really wants to deal with this anymore. Everybody tries to avoid it because it's just like not as familiar. Now, string players like viola uses that a lot, and some other random instruments use those alto and tenor clefs, but for the most part, no one cares about those. Um, at least I'm not a big fan of them just because I'm so familiar with the other two, the treble and the bass, that I don't like sorting out notes on the other clefs. All right, cool. So you've learned the word staff, right? Which is just the word for those lines, the group of 5 lines and 4 spaces. Then you've learned the word clef, which is denoting whether we are in the treble clef or the bass clef. Now let me show you another helpful image that I think will be good. What is that? Okay. So this is your next step in this process. There is some things below our 5 lines and 4 spaces. Holy cow. And above them too. Holy cow to that. As you can see, there is both the treble and the bass clef in this image, right? Just like we talked about. But there is a very important note that is shown here, and I want you guys to see where it says middle C. That is a huge reference note for a lot of musicians, specifically the piano. We love middle C. And how you find it is if you're sitting at a piano, right directly in front of you, if you sit in the middle of the piano, you'll see that the piano has a group of 2 black notes. Actually, I'm going to remove the image just for a second so you guys can see me push it down. All right, so I'm sitting right in front of the piano, right? Even if I had a small piano, this would more than likely be the case. As you can see, the piano is broken down into groups of 2 black notes and 3 black notes. 2, 3, 2, 3, and down here, 2, 3, 2, 3, right? Middle C, how you're going to find it is find the group of 2 black notes right in front of you. And then you're going to go, this is going to look weird since things are reversed, but you're going to go to the white note that is below, lower in pitch, more towards the left of those 2 black notes. So here's the 2 black notes. I'm going to the pitch that's lower by the first white note I can go to. That is middle C, and it is pretty critical. The reason why, let me pull back up this image. Whoops, that's our secret for in a minute. Okay. If you can see on this image where they have shown you middle C right there. And like I said, oh my gosh, there's lines that aren't on the normal staff. We call those, here's another word just to learn, ledger lines. Like if you wrote something in the ledger, like a side note, they're ledger lines. They're like extra lines that we add. And middle C happens to be on the first ledger line that we could draw that is underneath the first actual line of the stuff, right? So you guys can see it there. It's got that little line through it, middle C. And then just like we go line, space, well, we have to do a space before we can get to our line on the staff. So line is C, that ledger line. Then I'm going up, D. And you guys can see this correspond on the piano, which is why I like this image as well. D is the space before I get to the actual staff line. Then what do we have? Every good boy is fine. Here we go. E, F, G, A, B, C, D. They end on this G up here, right? Because they've gone line, space, and ledger lines above the thing. Okay, just like if you're looking at middle C on the treble one, you can go down and add some more ledger lines. And what they're showing you with the treble and the bass clef here is that middle C is kind of in the middle of both of them. So we've got middle C on our treble clef with that one ledger line, and then we've got middle C on our bass clef. Do you guys see it? Do you see it? All right, so there's middle C there on the bass clef. Now I'm looking at. And if I'm reading in reverse, that is going from right to left instead of left to right like I'm supposed to, then I will go down. So middle C backwards, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. There's the octave, B, etc., etc., etc. Right? And you can see that there are those little ledger line guys. It's just really like adding more lines that we just want to put more notes on that staff, and there's not room for them in the 5 lines, so we're just like adding those ledger lines to keep going. When you see these guys grouped together, it is called the grand staff, and that is, as a pianist, basically what I read through most of the time, because the right hand is played usually the treble clef, the higher up. Okay, this is one of the covers I'm going to do tonight for y'all. Oof. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see that those two are bracketed together, the treble and the bass clef, which is very common. And the lines that go vertically, every so often, those are our measure marks. So this piece is in 4/4 as well. And so each time there's a vertical line that goes up and down across both of those staffs, that is a new measure. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, one of those lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, line. The line doesn't factor into the rhythm, but you get the point, right? That's what that is. So you can see that my right hand is going to be playing what is on the treble, and my left hand is going to be playing what is on the bass. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but my left hand has those 1 beams connecting them. So that is what? The 8th note. So my left hand rhythms will be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right. And my right hand's doing some other stuff. All right, so I think yeah, I was gonna go into sharps and flats tonight, but I think for key signatures and when we go more into time signatures. But for now, you guys should know how to read those notes on the staff. And what they mean. If they go up in pitch. If it goes down in pitch. Together, the treble and the bass staffs are called the grand staff. And in piano, it's usually right hand, left hand. Guitar, you will usually have just one staff, like guitar sheet music. You'll have just usually a treble. Sometimes it goes into the bass, but it's usually one staff at a time, as well as most other instruments use just one staff. So if you're looking at like violin music or trumpet or something like that, it's usually written in just one staff, just the treble. So yeah, exciting stuff. Hopefully that makes some sense. And now my surprise I already gave away. Welcome to a very common song. All right, so what you can see there is our lovely grand staff, right? We've got our treble staff and our bass staff. And we've got the 4/4, right? So we know that it is 4 beats until we start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then the quarter note gets the beat, all right? So if we're just going to look at the rhythm part of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have quarter, 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 half note, 1, 2. Okay, I should stick to one system. So let me just count it out in beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Do you see how I can speed it up and still like keep the quote rhythm? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Right? That should be a pretty simple rhythm now that you guys know about the pizza and the rhythm. And now let's look at the pitch, right? So if I'm, let me scoot it around a little bit if I am able to do that. Ooh, I can. Okay. So the first note we have there. So first thing you want to do is like sort out your rhythm. That's kind of what even like some pros do, is sort out the rhythm of what you want to play first, or sing or whatever. And so the rhythm of those is quarter notes. Then you got that one half note and your second measure. I'm just gonna talk freely to you guys now because you're all aware of that language. So I have to look at what the first pitch was. Well, we just talked about on this bad boy, middle C being on the first ledger line. So I can have faith that that is middle C. In fact, right there, right? So I got two C's. Lovely. All right, now go to your every good boy does fine. Remember it. So every good is the second line, right? So that would be G. So we got C, C, G, G. All right, and remember face, the spaces. So F, A is the second space, face. So A, G, then F for face, F, F, E. Every good boy does fine. Then D, because that comes before E and it's on that little space below the line. Then ledger line C. All right, see if you can guess the next up above. What will those notes be, right? Every good boy does fine. So if it's the second line, every good, it's a what? G. Boom. G, G, then F, F, E, E, D, etc. Like a F, F, E, E, D, C, C, G, G, A, G, F, F, E, E, D, D, C. Holy smokes. I hope that made sense to you guys. But I'm thinking it will at this point because you've learned your rhythms. You've learned what the 4/4 means. You learned that we're in the treble up there and nothing's going on in our left hand right now, right? It ain't doing nothing. So I'm going to play it one more time and see if you can maybe follow along as it goes, right? All right, so here's my middle C. And I'm going to count to 4 to count us in so we can get the feeling of the 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So hopefully your brain has connected a couple things tonight, right? Hopefully you're able to look at those is that those are, right? So if you're simply singing and you don't have an instrument involved, go with my favorite from The Sound of Music, the Do Re Mi song. So middle C is Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. All right, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. And people love to use that's called solfege, and people that are singers love the solfege because they don't have an actual instrument to test out their notes on. They just have their voice in their mind. So they use that a lot to help them learn how to sing those. But it's very helpful to know the actual note names that are happening. Okay. So and just to be clear, the way that this is written, it's talking about this particular C, middle C, right? Because you can see it on the staff there. And this particular G, this particular A, right? If they were different ones, they would be on different parts of the staff. So hopefully that gives y'all a nice little intro tonight to start thinking and brewing in your mind. And I encourage you to look at some sheet music somewhere, whether it's on the internet or something you have at home, and just kind of start identifying those things, being like, oh my gosh, there goes a quarter note. There goes the eighth note. There goes 4/4. There goes every good boy does fine, or face, or good boys do fine always, or ace with the random G, right? Start just looking at this stuff, and it just starts becoming like a little obvious that it is not rocket science. It is just a little language that we use. All right. So there goes your intro to music notation, you guys. So have fun, make yourself some rhythms, make yourself some pitch, draw some stuff on the staff or the grand staff this week, and feel really smart and good about yourself, because um, if you can get to a place where you can even just a little bit read music, it is a skill that will open up an entire world for you and stay with you your whole life, even when you're old lady or old man. So I'm really proud of you guys. Hopefully, yeah, that was easy to understand. And now I will play a couple covers for you guys, and we'll get to the meditation, and we will call it. So yeah, the covers I'm going to play for you tonight, I chose for a couple different reasons. The first one I'm going to play is an Adele song. One, because people always want me to sing Adele, even though I know I don't sound like Adele, really. Like, no one could really ever sound like her, or other than what they sound like. And I'm going to do Easy on Me. And the reason is because I think a lot of people have an artistic ability and have some kind of talent or creativity, and it's sad, but a lot of people at a young age were shut down either by a horrible, horrible teacher or parent or somebody that just didn't encourage you in the right way. And uh, maybe now that you're an adult, you feel like, oh, there's no hope for me to like learn. It's too late for me to learn read music, or too late for me to do this. And I was just here tonight to tell you that it's never too late. And so go easy on yourself. That's why I'm going to sing that one. Second, I'm going to do actually a Tori Amos song, Silent All These Years, because I love her, obviously, and her sheet music like got me through my teenage years. So I spent hours and hours learning her sheet music, so that's a special place. And then I am going to go ahead and use this last cover just for her meditation. So enjoy this Chopin piece. I hope it brings some relaxation. I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful week. Join me back here next week. We'll dive a little bit more deeper into that, and you'll have a week to kind of play around and look at all your staffs and clefs and rhythms. So this is Prelude, Opus 28, number 4, by Chopin. And love you guys, and have a great